Okay, so this is Genesis chapter 35, verse 16, and today I'm going to try to finish this whole chapter. So it says here, the birth of Benjamin and the death of Rachel. Verse 16 and 17, the birth of another son. Then they journeyed from Bethel, and when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, Rachel labored in childbirth, and she had hard labor. Now it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said to her, "Do not fear, you'll have this son also." Sorry guys, I'm cleaning my glasses, or I can barely see. Okay. So Rachel labored in childbirth. There seems to be none of the contentiousness and competitiveness surrounding the birth of this last son, possibly because they were all older at this time. More so it was because they were now in the promised land, and it just wasn't as important as before. In childbirth, we don't know how long Jacob stayed at Bethel, but it's possible the last child was conceived at this place where Jacob came to his first love for the Lord. Verse 18, the naming of the last son. And so it was, as her soul was departing, for she died, that she called his name Benoni, but his father called him Benjamin. She called his name Benoni. Rachel named this last child, who before would have been seen as a cause for rejoicing and victory in the competition with her sister, Benoni, meaning son of my sorrow. Ultimately, this shows the futility of Rachel's competition with her sister Leah. Now, at the time of her final victory, all she found was sorrow. But his father called him Benjamin. Jacob wisely named the child Benjamin, which means son of my right hand. Perhaps he rightly sensed the special place God had for this child, or perhaps he simply prized Benjamin so greatly because he was the final link between him and the woman he most loved. Benjamin. The right side was associated with greater strength and honor because most people are right-handed. Benjamin, son of my right hand, therefore has the idea of son of my strength or son of my honor. This idea is expressed in passages like Exodus chapter 16, verse 5, or Exodus chapter 15, verse 6, which says, your right hand, O Lord, has become glorious in power. Your right hand, O Lord, has dashed the enemies in pieces. Your right hand, O Lord, has become glorious in power. Your right hand, O Lord, has dashed every enemy in pieces. The Lord is our strength and honor, as in Psalm 16, verse 8 says, I have set the Lord always before me, because he is at my right hand. I shall not be moved. God's strength and honor are for us. God's strength and honor are for us. My soul follows close behind you. Your right hand upholds me. Psalm 63, 8. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you will revive me. You will stretch out your hands against the wrath of my enemies, and your right hand will save me. Psalm 138, 7. Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father, the position of strength and honor, and we sit there with him. If then you were raised with Christ, seek those things which are above, where Christ is sitting at the right hand of God. Colossians chapter 3, verse 1. verse 19 and 20 say, or actually this is the title of what verse 19 and 20 says, is the death and burial of Rachel. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. And Jacob set a pillar on her grave, which is a pillar of Rachel's grave to this day. Rachel died and was buried. Rachel's death was a tragic fulfillment of the curse Jacob himself pronounced on the one who stole the idols of Laban. Says here, that verse says, with whomever you find your gods, do not let him live. In the presence of our brethren, identify what I have of yours and take it with you. For Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. Genesis chapter 30, verse 1, Rachel pleaded with Jacob, give me children or else I die. As it happened, both became true. She had children and she died as a result. Jacob set a pillar on her grave. This also shows that even when we get right with God and return to our first love, it doesn't mean life becomes easy and comfortable. There are constant challenges for us to trust God. We cannot prize comfort more than getting right with God. For some, comfort is their idol, a false god they worship with constant pursuit and attention. Some only want a comfortable life, not a godly life. The symbol for some Christians seems to be an easy chair, not a cross. Verse 21 and 22, Reuben sinned with his father's concubine. Then Israel journeyed and pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Eder. And it happened when Israel dwelt in that land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine. And Israel heard about it. Sorry, guys. A bunch of noise outside. Hold on a sec. So, as I said in the previous sentence, it says, and it happened when Israel dwelt in that land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard about it. Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine. Reuben was the firstborn. We might expect the best conduct from him and might expect him to most seriously receive the covenant of his fathers. Yet here he sinned in a most offensive way against his father and entire family. However, we don't have to wonder about where this sinful conduct came from. In a home so filled with strife, contention, competition, and the pursuit of the flesh, it was almost to be expected. Israel heard about it. Through their sin, Reuben, Simeon, and Levi seemed to disqualify themselves from the high calling of Abraham's blessing. It will be up to the fourth son, Judah, to bring forth the Messiah. 22b to 26, Jacob's 12 sons. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's maidservants, were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's maidservant, were Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Paddan Aram. The sons of Jacob were 12. From what we have seen in the last few chapters, this was not a collection of amazingly spiritual men. We are greatly amazed in reflecting upon the event as a whole that descendants of the worthy patriarch Abraham should almost immediately after his time already have sunk to the level upon which Jacob's sons stand in this chapter. Loophole. These were the sons of Jacob. This was actually a severely dysfunctional family. God will use this family, but not because they were such great or spiritual men, but because he chose them by his grace alone. The death of Isaac, 27. Jacob visits his father Isaac one last time. Then Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre, or Kirjath Arba. This is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had dwelt. Jacob came to his father Isaac. More than 20 years ago, Jacob left his home thinking that his father would soon die. Jacob probably never expected to see his father again before he died. We should remember our times are in God's hands. We may expect a long or short life for others or ourselves and be quite wrong. Only God knows. His father Isaac. There seemed to be nothing dramatic between Isaac and Jacob at this meeting. There are recorded no further words or blessings. It was possible Isaac was hindered by his old age. 28 and 29. Jacob and Esau bury their father together. Now the days of Isaac were 180 years, so Isaac breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, being old and full of days, and his son Esau and Jacob buried him. His sons Esau and Jacob buried him. The sons had already been brought together by God's hand. Now they worked together again, united by the death of their father.